Alright, what up sluts? I have for you today a replay of a matchup against lands that I played that I thought was pretty interesting. Lands is generally a relatively easy matchup for combo decks. Game 1, they don't have a whole lot of ways to interact, sometimes approximately 0 ways to interact, and the only way you lose is either by not playing around Wasteland and losing all your mana, or, which sometimes isn't even enough because of Lotus Petals and stuff, or by them getting a quick Merit Lage out. Generally, I just pretend that's not going to happen, and if it looks like it's going to happen, then I just try and force the combo through early if I can. But usually you have a lot of time, and you can set up a kill at your leisure. So, let's see what happens in game 1. This hand, I think I end up keeping this hand. It's pretty keepable. I don't actually want to go that fast. So, the opponent plays out a few Mox Diamonds. And then plays a gamble, and I think he ends up gambling for Life from the Loam, would be my guess, because that seems like something you want to gamble for, or just have the Loam in his hand and ends up in the graveyard. Either way, doesn't really matter much. So we draw an extra ritual for the turn, and just play out Misty Rainforest. And so my normal game plan against lands is to crack fetches as late as possible, because that's the easiest way to play around Wasteland, and it also plays around Ghost Quarter, which a lot of lands decks have been playing lately. So I end up just playing the land out and passing the turn. They play Loam and get back some Wooded Foothills, and play a land and just pass. So I draw another fetch, play it out, and same thing. I just leave my fetches uncracked, pass the turn. They loan back Wasteland. We keep doing this for a while. Now, this is good enough for me. I can go off from here. So, I draw and play, or I crack the fetch, and play a ritual off of it. They decide to Wasteland my fetches. Wait, now I play the ritual. There's the ritual. Play some rituals, play at the top. Play out a Doomsday, and I'm going to make a Burning Wish for Infernal Contract pile. So it's something like Lion's Eye Diamond on top, and then 2 more Lion's Eye Diamonds, and a Lotus Petal, and then Burning Wish on the bottom. There it is. Set it up, tap the top to draw the petal, fire off the Burning Wish, get the contract, and draw it all, and off we go. Now, you'll notice that this lands deck had an Abrupt Decay in the main, even though they don't show any signs of having black mana except from the Mox Diamonds. So that gives them a little bit of a way to interact. Obviously, it wasn't a big issue here, and you can play around a single Abrupt Decay fairly easily. So, match 1 is a blowout, as expected. Game 2, against lands, they will usually bring in Chalice or Sphere of Resistance, sometimes Thorn of Amethyst, things like that. To try and slow the combo decks down, and you'll see them bring in Crozen Grip. This guy does bring in Crozen Grip against me. You'll see that. So they have a lot more ways to slow you down game 2, but they prioritize playing those cards and not trying to combo out or trying to beat you. So it gives you time to get rid of those cards. So for my part, I bring in the Abrupt Decays. I don't have wasn't playing Ingot Chewer in my sideboard when I played this match, but if I was, I would consider bringing those in. That's all you need, is just ways to get rid of their hate permanents. So let's see how this one starts out. So this hand that I kept is pretty good. It has an Abrupt Decay for if they play something. It's got Business Spell, it's got some cantrips, it's got a Ritual. This has a fairly high probability of turning into a winning hand in a few turns. So definitely a keeper. On my turn, I just play out my basic and pass. They come out with another Wasteland and play the Sphere, which is what we expected, so not too alarmed by that. Once I get up to a third land, I can Abrupt Decay them. Now, so we go for the Decay, and they waste my Bayou. Now you can see that I drew the Ideas Bound, which could potentially be slightly problematic, but I have a Brainstorm to put it back. So I'm not too concerned. I'm not under a lot of pressure, and I just destroyed one of their hate pieces. So I'm going to, the game plan now is to just try to get mana down and eventually get the Divining Top down so that I can dig for anti-hate or cantrips or what have you. So there's the top, and I ponder. And there's a Lab Maniac in there, which is kind of annoying. We can just shuffle that away later. So they're crop rotating for something. I'm noticing that they're not trying to go for the fast combo, which I thought was a little strange. But as you can see, they had a hand with Abrupt Decay and Crows and Grip in it, and so they probably are wanting to try to keep mana up to interact with me if I try to combo off. So because of that, the game plan changes, because we need to be able to beat potentially two removal spells that could remove a Mind's Eye Diamond or a top. But fortunately, they're not finding any more spheres or chalice or anything like that. So at this point, I decided that it's fine to go for it. And the idea is that because they've tapped down the black mana source, they can only play Crows and Grip instead of being able to play both. And so I can build a pile that baits them into gripping my Sensei's Divining Top and then not actually needing the Divining Top. And what I do is, you'll see it, but I use the Brainstorm to put Ideas Unbound into my Doomsday pile after playing Doomsday. So I pile up some Probes and Mind's Eye Diamond, and then I put the Ideas Unbound and the Lab Maniac back into the pile with the Brainstorm. And when I play the Mind's Eye Diamond, they try to grip the top, but surprise motherfucker, I don't need the top. You fell right into my trap. There it is.